if we're drilling for energy and we continue to bring the price of energy down, that's very positive for inflation, which is good for mortgage rates. And so less than feared, right? So just be careful who you watch out there and who you read about. I try and stay off the mainstream media since 2016 because I watch how it plays with people's emotions who don't have the emotional intelligence.
Get ready for a new episode of KP Talks Dollars and Cents. Learn financial literacy and get real-time updates on all things housing, finance, and real estate. So let's get started. Here's your host, Kevin Peranio.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from the heart of Miami. We're at Café Versailles. If you know, you know. This is where it all goes down. Just got to meet with a couple of our teammates here on the retail side. Look at them coming in here. There it is. Marcos and Charlie, let's go.
What's up?
Hey, is this the heartbeat of Miami right here or
Yes,
what?
yes.
This is where it all goes down. When Castro died, this is like a party right here. Right? It's legit. This is that place. All right, what's going on in the world of news? Hope everyone had a wonderful MLK weekend, and we kept the dream alive. A lot of work to do, but we're doing it right here in all of our communities. We're building and helping people build multi-generational wealth, and that's what we do in this business. Okay, fires and hurricanes. We've been talking about it, and the LA fires are still not completely contained. There's a little bit of work to do, and it's still being done. Thank you for those that have donated to the PRMG Cares fund. That's been great. It's still going. So those links are still live, so let's keep it going. We have some great prizes in the kitty there for you. Okay, big day today. I'll try, look around LinkedIn. Some people still spout the legacy media playbook, on a day like today when there's so much news going on. You see people out there not being constructive. And it's a shame because our business, people look up to us at our companies to build our communities. Extremism is a sickness, and that goes for both parties. But people who are extreme in their beliefs, I think, have been shown that that's not the direction this country wants to go in. So we still have a mission to put people in houses. We have a mission for not just helping home affordability, but working with the insurance companies. The California MBA did a great job of pushing on Governor Newsom and the Department of Insurance and trying to make sure that there's coverage for those that are hurt. There's a lot of work to do, and that's what we do every day. And the bond market's been rallying. Does anyone know why? Couple reasons. So the big reason last week was the inflation report, which we went at a lot, the CPI print. But the New York Times put out an article today, and the bond market rallied immediately. It's very interesting to see the MBS commentary from Mortgage News Daily to show the exact moment when that article came out. Everyone says the bond traders are the smartest guys on Wall Street, but they don't know everything. They're risk managers. So there's been a lot of talk about tariffs, and I'm by no means trying to do anything other than just give you data and math and science and facts and keep the emotion out of it and the rhetoric and the propaganda that the legacy media plays. But bond traders are risk managers. And if tariffs are an inflationary risk and you don't know the risk, you can't afford to be off sides, even as a bond trader. The bond traders did not know that the New York Times would write an article and get the scoop from the Trump administration saying they're going to do exactly what they did the first administration when they came around. They're going to do some studying, do some research. They're going to try and find out the impact of tariffs, and they're going to try and see what is the best way to use that and implement it. And the bond market rallied in a positive manner because everyone thought that day one, the Trump administration would just come out and sign executive orders and say, we're going to tariff this country and China and Mexico and Canada and tariff them all to death. You know what they did? They saved TikTok. So, among other things, we have some energy policy, the change, which is pretty big. Every single recession has started when the price of oil has gotten too high. And there's a reason why food and energy get stripped out of all the inflation numbers, because energy and food are very volatile. And so if some of these executive orders are trying to tackle that. And again, I'm just kind of relaying the news and how it impacts the bond market from a factual standpoint. If we're drilling for energy and we continue to bring the price of energy down, that's very positive for inflation, which is good for mortgage rates. And so less than feared, right? So just be careful who you watch out there and who you read about. I try and stay off the mainstream media since 2016 because I watch how it plays with people's emotions who don't have the emotional intelligence to see through the propaganda that's out there. And if you think about energy prices being down, that's a factual win for everybody. So that was a policy that came out today. Now we are shading a little bit more towards isolationism versus globalism. That doesn't mean that we were globalists before or we are isolationists now. But when you pull out of the Paris Peace Accords, which, by the way, the Davos Economic Forum is going on today. Did anyone even know anything about that? I mean, it's usually like a huge news-making thing, and obviously, not a lot of people talking about it because Europe, has traditionally used us in America for free security, and used Russia for oil, and both those things are at jeopardy right now if the Trump administration gets, a little more tough on their isolationist approach. I'm not agreeing or disagreeing with whatever they're doing. I'm just saying, that pulling out of the World Health Organization, these are all things that happen on day one. So certainly won't be a lack of interesting things to talk about. But what matters to us on this platform is how it impacts, the mortgage industry, real estate, and interest rates. And so when you see that the tariffs aren't as bad as feared, well, the bond market rallied and rates are better. And that could change overnight just as easily. Yeah, I could be on my Thursday video going, we just tariff Canada and Mexico 25% each on every single thing they do, which is not in the playbook, and then the markets will go the other way. But the way that they're going about it with the study and the approach and seeing how to implement it was how they did it in the first administration, and it was not very inflationary. I think the worst case estimate I saw was like $50 billion of inflation if we did whatever the worst case scenario is against China alone. And that's a drop in the bucket. The debt ceiling was reached today. So on Friday, former Treasury Secretary Janet Yellen wrote a letter saying that we will hit our debt ceiling today. So on the first day of the new administration, hey, here you go. We hit our debt limit. Credit cards maxed. Now the Treasury does have the ability to fund the government, and there's some things that can be done. There's a $650 billion cash surplus sitting on the Fed's balance sheet right now, and they could easily stop the quantitative tightening with their balance sheet. Remember how they're kind of flooding the market with treasuries right now? They could swing $400 billion the other way every single month, which is massive. It would dwarf anything that we would do to China on tariffs in a heartbeat. And so that is definitely a feather we have in our caps, something to think about. But I'm curious how small business is going to react in the coming months to some of these policies. 43% of our GDP comes from small businesses. 99.9% of every registered business in America is a small business. Over half of the employed workers in America work for small business. So I'm really curious to see how small business will be doing these next 6 months with any policies that are come out. Treasury funding the government after we have hit our debt ceiling today is, hopefully will be done through March 15th, which is when the continuing resolution and debt ceiling and limit needs to be raised. So a lot to talk about there. There's lots of Treasury issuance going on this year, to the tune of $10 trillion. So we're going to watch and see, does the Fed go $400 billion the other way a month, maybe $100 billion? I don't know. So there's things to look at and talk about. TikTok roller coaster seems to be over for now, although it's on a 75-day reprieve. So we'll be talking about TikTok, I'm sure, again in 75 days. Which CapCut is owned by TikTok. I don't know if you guys knew that or not. That's like that video editing software. And it's restored. What else is going on in the world? Well, we have a Fed meeting next week, and there's PCE, which is the Fed's preferred measure of inflation, personal consumption expenditure, aka the Fed deflator. That will come out next week. This month, and that will move markets for sure. So in the meanwhile, bonds ripping, stock market's ripping, just another day in the life of America. I've got plenty to talk about, but I'm trying to keep these under 10 minutes this year. We'll keep an eye on the Fed meeting and all the comings and goings of the new government, and tariff talk and all the other stuff that people want to talk about. But what matters is what actually happens. And the bond market got caught offsides. They don't know everything. They are risk managers, and they were managing risk, and they were scared. And now the bond market's rallying. So hopefully we can keep that in order. I think one thing that is important, I read the Mortgage Banker Association's revised update for economic and origination forecasts. I think it's worthy to note. They're still over $2 trillion for the year, and they have rates at 6.4% for the year on average. And they have an unemployment rate of 4% for the year. But at the end of the year, they have like 1.9% GDP and only like just under 2% housing price appreciation. So these are headwinds, actually. So bad news can be good news for the bond market. It can be good news for mortgage interest rates. It's not good for business. It's not fundamentally sound for business in general. Not all businesses are built the same. Just paid for dinner using Toast. Did you know Toast, the little handheld thing, the point of sale thing, is a $22 billion company? We're in the wrong business, everybody. Anyway, it was good to see that MBA forecast come out. Purchase business is under $1.4 trillion for the year now, so they did revise down. And that's what happens when you head into January and February with rates a little bit higher. But you know what? They can course correct those revisions as well if interest rates come down. And so we'll see how things shake out and get back to you on Thursday. Cheers.
Hey, it's KP coming to you live from Fort Lauderdale. I'm here at the CoreLogic Executive Roundtable. It's been great. It's their 4th year doing this. Fannie and Freddie were here today talking about all their initiatives. It's been incredible. And it's a little cold, but I'm going to go outside, give you a little bit of a view. And I'll throw in a couple of guests here. There's Charlie Borman, the man, the myth, the legend, lives in Austin. Jason Stenger, Movement, my co-chair at the IMB for the MBA. We'll see you all in Austin. We'll be there. We'll be there. IMB in Austin. Okay, so what's going on in our world? So, existing home sales coming out tomorrow. Obviously, that's the bulk of sales in America. New construction had a nice peak of 32% of all home sales last year, which is incredible. We are still generally undersupplied, and my hope is, with Bill Pulte from Pulte Homes being the FHFA director, we'll continue to see some red tape cut through to help building get off the ground, especially at a local level. God knows they need it for the LA fires and everything around there, and it's going to be a good year. We're going to thrive in 25. We are here on Fort Lauderdale Beach discussing all the initiatives that the GSEs have. Some things we can talk about, some things we can't, but I'll just generally say I love seeing the fact that Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac continue to innovate, continue to push our industry forward. And I've got to tell you, some really great things coming out for all of us out there. So what's going on in the world right now? So do you feel the animal spirits? And if you don't know what that means, first of all, we're all at some level animals, but there are animal spirits that are excited right now. I saw, I didn't watch, I apologize, you guys know I don't watch TV. I'm not a big mainstream media guy, but I saw a clip that showed $1.2 trillion of net worth of companies and owners and CEOs of Microsoft and Meta and Apple and Google, and they were all there, in alignment with our government for a multitude of reasons. They don't want to get sued. They think the regulatory environment is going to be a little bit more pro-business, which is good for all of our businesses. And someone pointed out to me, Arthur McGee's, he used to work at a company back in all the way to 2020. I was here for the Miami chapter of Florida Association of Mortgage Professionals, and we're both, as he described it, business nerds. And it's really interesting. He made a point. You have Tim Cook from Apple, an LGBTQ male. You have two Indian Americans. You have a South African with Elon Musk. And you have all these leaders of business that control a lot of flow of data and information. And if you're on an iPhone, or you have an electric vehicle, or you do Google search, or whatever the case may be, you're on Facebook, these businesses are part of our lives. And to see them, excited about maybe a regulatory environment that is pro-business, that's good for all of our businesses. So I'm hopeful. And it has awakened some, to coin a phrase from, some of those legendary stock investors, the animal spirits, whether it's Graham or Druckenmiller or any of these, legendary investors. The stock market is doing well and has potential to go up. I am not a financial advisor. I am not responsible for your losses, only your profits. But, someone made a comment here in the last couple of weeks about being too rich, or whatever that means. And, you can paper trade and learn to invest. And I'm not an investor. I'm not trying to give investment advice. But I will tell you that, the stock market is a great place to make money. It's about time in the market, not time in the market. Put $100 down a month. Just buy the S&P index, maybe paper trade with free money, and kind of learn how your style is. Go through all the gyrations. You think you hit home runs and grand slams, and you can't. And you realize you just need to invest in good businesses and invest in yourself. We have a chance here to not only build our communities through home ownership and serve the underserved, but then also create wealth for our families, multi-generational wealth. And I want to tell I want to get a little bit personal. So my family is of Sicilian descent, and they came here in the 30s, and they came here as immigrants. And my grandfather, who saw his father, my great-grandfather, shot in the face in front of him, had 7 children. My dad was, locked up at gym every night at LSU. I'm wearing his jacket from the 70s, maybe 60s. It was like a 60-year-old jacket. On Tuesday, he died, 4 years on that day. My daughter's second birthday. She turned 6 on Tuesday while I'm on the road, sadly. But we're throwing a party for her Saturday night. My mom and dad stayed together for 58 years, worked at $80,000 a year job, up to $105,000 a year job, worked for Texas Instruments, stayed together, put me and my sister through college. After multiple generations of staying together and, just trying to make a better world for our kids. And so multi-generational, wealth can be created through home ownership and allow the next generation, if everyone stays together and if everyone puts the effort into leaving it better than how you found it, we can all create wealth. And that's what we do in the housing industry. We help people build wealth, and it's a good thing. And there's nothing wrong with that. Don't ever apologize for working 80 to 100 hours a week, literally for 27 straight years for me, trying to generate revenue. And so I don't want to make this about me, but I just want to use it as an example that these things take time. Being in the market takes time, and having a home and having it appreciate over time creates wealth. And so I just want to remind everyone that if you have more resources and you use them in an altruistic manner, don't ever apologize for that. And so I'm really excited about where AI is going. I'm excited where our business is going. I'm excited about all the things we talked about today. Boston Consulting Group was here. We got some, core logic data showing, the impact of the fires and what's going on out there. And it's really incredible to see, risk management of collateral. And then hear, Fannie and Freddie talk about, these loans that we're dealing with from fires, and talk about how they're going to, just make it better for people to get into a home. So let's not forget our mission. You can rent, and that's fine, but you're going to make a landlord rich. And he shouldn't apologize to you for not trying to save and create a better life for yourself and your future generations to come. So AI, it's a big deal. All those CEOs and leaders I talked about, they're trying to add that layer of AI into everything we do, which is a wonderful thing. It's not going to replace people and jobs unless they don't learn how to use it on the job. And that was a big topic of today, and obviously throughout the rest of the year. We'll be in Austin for the NBA's IMB next week. It should be a fantastic event. It's always a good event. Austin's an exciting town. I lived there for 9 years. I went to Texas. Was in college only 4, but I hung around a little bit. And I will tell you, there's a little bit of an AI race going on between us and China. It's interesting. China has an AI version. It's similar to ChatGPT. They went open source, whereas ChatGPT is kind of closed off their walls and trying to be profitable and a profit company as opposed to a nonprofit, how they were originally chartered. And China's going open source. They want business. They want our business. So competition's good between the borders. I don't know what's going to go on with the Fed meeting next week. I don't know what's going to go on with all the data. The Fed doesn't know. Institutional bond traders don't know. No one knows what's going to happen beyond 2 months. And everyone loves to say what they think based mostly on their worldview or their political views. But I will tell you one thing. It is generally a very positive start to 2025. We have a pro-business, less regulation, friendly environment for us to thrive. So let's do it together. Let's thrive in 25. I hope you have a wonderful weekend, and I will have a Monday night video from Austin for the Texas-based IMB, independent mortgage banker for the Mortgage Banker Association. You guys have a wonderful weekend. Cheers.
You've been listening to KP Talks Dollars and Cents, a top-rated show for those who want to learn about the economy and mortgage environment. Tune in each week for more episodes, and please leave us a 5-star review on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Kevin Peranio does not render or offer to render personalized investment or tax advice through KP Talks Dollars and Cents. The information provided is for informational purposes only and does not constitute financial, tax, investment, or legal advice. For more info, follow KP Talks Dollars and Cents on all of our social channels.